Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Taurus energy. And we're going to get out the story, and then I'm going to read it from a couple different perspectives. Because the cards and the energies of the cards can indicate different things, and, more emotional maturity, less emotional maturity, more egoic, less egoic. And the truth is, there's all sorts of different people in the world that we deal with, and some of them are more immature, more stubborn, more prideful, more full of themselves, more about ego and image or money and materialism, and less about character and integrity. So that can be that they harness their Taurus energy differently. This might be something more of a story that someone who might be a Taurus sun sign or sun, moon, or rising sign might be dealing with. And it might be an energy that Taurus energy at large is having to deal with. But we all tap into Taurus energy. So, Taurus energy can kind of talk about our philosophy of life, all these different things that we've learned over our life that in our mind aligns with our truth that we think is just and fair, whether that's to be shadowy and immature and bossy and controlling and self-indulgent, and or that's your truth, you're gonna probably want to hang out with other people who are like that. And anywhere between there and being a very high vibe spiritual leader in the world, which is high vibe Taurus, you're somewhere on the spectrum. And wherever you're at in having learned some lessons and kind of tempered your more immature, egoic, fearful, codependent, insecure, lustful, greedy nature, you'd probably want to be in relationships with other people who have kind of on that same page. And when you find yourself in a more mismatched relationship, Taurus is earth sign energy. And in our worldly nature of self, these things of the world that we want, we can all be manipulated and want those things. We want friendship, we want relationship, we want maybe to have stability and security, and maybe like to indulge in some of the finer things of life, which is what Taurus can represent. And I think the people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Taurus energy are more manipulated by those things. So they would have, even if they find themselves in a more shadowy or abusive or unhappy situation, they would have a harder time getting out of it. Anybody can have a hard time getting out of an abusive relationship. That's can be a much more entangled and complicated thing. But we can all have a hard time because we all are so manipulated by our worldly nature. So let's see what's going on. We start out with the Playmate card. So that kind of reminds me of Sagittarius energy, which can be, do we look at life more as an adventure to be lived, where we do learn lessons in life and we're motivated and inspired within ourselves, wanting to have fun, like be in friendships and jobs and relationships with people that we enjoy, try to motivate and inspire other people to love and believe in themselves? Or are we still kind of more caught up in the world or ourselves and kind of more immature? So there's different people in the world right now. They could be in your family, they could be in your neighborhood, they could be in your workplace. And some of those people, you can harness this energy differently. But because of the status or the image, they can be attractive or charming. We can be attracted to each other. And, there can be people that we would like to get to know more because we want to figure out what is their truth. Are they more egoic, materialistic, stubborn, manipulative, immature, or are they not? Shadowy people could be looking for people who are more shadowy, even if some of them are more shadowy or immature than them. Because shadowy energy can be, I just want to indulge in the relationship with you, or can I manipulate you? And high vibe people don't want people to indulge them in a more shadowy way, and they're more inspired to want to be in a relationship with people who are just more on the same page as them. So people could be communicating, and we're always kind of communicating to a degree and interacting with people in our world in order to figure out kind of who's who. High vibe people don't want people who harness this energy in a shadowy way. And that's where, and then the shadowy people, it could go either way, because sometimes the more worldly shadowy people, it's like, well, I don't care. Can I indulge in a relationship with you? I don't care if you're motivated by love. I just want to indulge in a relationship with you. Are you more bossy, controlling, egotistical? Some people just want to have sex, you know? So when we kind of get into the more shadowy people, it just opens up the whole spectrum of all these different possibilities. Let's go see. Some people harness these energies in a high vibe way. Some people harness them in a more shadowy way. The tunnel, the courtship, the birds, which is also, I view it, well, it says on the card it's Sagittarius, the karmic cycle, and the gift of money. Well, the high vibe people are inspired by truth and love. In high vibe, the pentacle is about truth and love and having learned lessons in life. High vibe people can be attracted to other people, be in friendships and relationships with people. They offer people, high vibe Sagittarius, being loving and encouraging to people in the courtship card, wanting everyone to kind of free themselves. Free yourself from those things that you could make you hide from the world and be more about the world. The tunnel card says Capricorn energy on it, and Capricorn can be getting more caught up in the world and presenting ourselves a certain way, which can be Taurus energy. I need to act like this. I need to dress like this. I need to go to these functions, not those functions. Hang out with these people, not those people. High vibe energy is about living your authentic truth, being less concerned, live your authentic life. If you want to dress that way, act that way, high vibe energy would be being inspired by truth and love to live your authentic life, being less manipulated by the world and your ego and your image, to just offer people truth and love, to work together with them, and then offer other people truth and love and encouragement for them to live their more authentic life. So with this card of Capricorn kind of like going to the light, it also, with it seeming like a tunnel, which is in a mountain, kind of makes me think of Virgo energy, which is taking that time alone to go within, to work through some of those things that we kind of do keep hidden in the dark. And sometimes, we keep our more authentic nature kind of hidden away. And we do live this more kind of superficial life and aren't really more authentically ourselves. And that's high vibe energy. Is high vibe Capricorn is freeing yourself from the devil, things that manipulate you. High vibe Virgo is doing this inner work to see the truth of those things that manipulate you, so you can go step out into the light of love, to live your more authentic truth. Be willing to go look at life as a journey to be lived. Don't let your own shadow nature, you kind of harnessing this in a more shadowy way, because your shadow nature, your pride, your ego, your fear, your insecurity, your lust, your greed, all those things, they're all going to try to stop you, thinking it's more just and fair to align with your more worldly nature, harnessing these in a more shadowy way. Your shadow nature is always going to be there to try to stop you. Are you inspired to keep offering truth and love to your own shadow nature? Where it's like, you know what? I'm going to keep offering myself truth and love and temper harnessing these energies in a more shadowy way, where I take more immature action, being manipulated by my more worldly nature, not wanting to see the truth that it's about truth and love. No, I'm going to keep offering myself truth and love to keep not indulging my more immature nature, because I already know If I take action more out of fear, insecurity, codependency, lust, or greed, I'm probably going to get in a relationship with some other people who are happy I'm in that energy because they are too. If I want to be in a relationship with people who are more inspired by truth and love, and kind of viewing the karmic cycle card as like a Three of Swords Libra energy, if I want relationships that are more inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness, I can't indulge poor behavior in myself, because then I'll probably get relationships again with people who are also living their life that way. And then that's the life I'm going to live, where it's kind of more being manipulated in my worldly nature to get relationships, maybe for some reason other than truth and love. And Taurus does talk about relationships and workplaces and marriage. We want to be in friendship and relationship with people. Are we willing to sacrifice our truth, and probably when we were younger and as we've been growing up, because we want those things of the world, sometimes we did sacrifice our truth. And Sagittarius is about learning these lessons in life, and Taurus is about incorporating those lessons we've learned into our decision making as we move forward. And when we've kind of repeated a pattern enough times, it's kind of like, yep, I've seen the truth of it. I don't want to keep doing that. And so the people in my life who would like me to keep doing that, because they're maybe doing that, I'm going to wish them peace and love, and I'm going to let them go do that with someone else, because I don't want to keep repeating that pattern. The people in my life who do work together with me, who are loving and encouraging, just and fair, those people I'll keep moving forward with. The people in my life who harness this in a more shadowy way, I don't want to keep moving forward with those people. And everybody has to come to that choice within themselves. Some people would like to do things differently, and they could try to do things differently. How many times did it take for us to break a bad habit or a pattern or a vice or any issue we could have dealt with in our life? It doesn't happen overnight. It can take a long time, years, decades. The more issues you know about people, the more shadowy traits they have, if they're immature, if they're prideful, if they're egotistical, have other people in their life who really manipulate them, really caught up in the world and ego and image, they got a lot of things to work through. And those things really motivate and inspire them. And they probably are nowhere close to seeing that they're investing in things that they think are going to be the answer. But love is the answer. Truth and love, justice, fairness, balance. And some people think, no, that's not my truth. I'm sure if I either make it more about me, there'll be people who will indulge me. I'm sure that will make me happy. Or if there's people in the world who have those things of the world, that's what Capricorn energy can represent, and they have those things of the world that I want, I think I'll be happy enough to indulge them in a relationship. I'm maybe not that interested in love. I get hurt doing love. I might not even want to really invest in love. I think this will be okay. I'll be happy doing this. It's kind of ignoring that aspect within themselves that is more, it's like aligning with their more shadowy nature than their more hopeful, believing, loving nature. And they made the free will decision. No, I don't think that's as important. And so then they don't align with that within themselves. And when they get in friendships or relationships with people, they can enjoy it, they could like it, but it's not really their truth. And we all kind of like to hang out with people who are kind of more aligned with our truth. So those people are going to go on a journey and everybody has the free will to manifest what they want. If that's their truth, they could, for the rest of their life, decide, yep, I think that was a good decision. That was just and fair. Whatever it is that they look to make their life about, other than growing and healing and maturing themselves, being more just and fair, operating from love, you know, they could be happy living their life that way all their life. And other people have been there and done that, and it wasn't what they thought it was cracked up to be. And they didn't want to keep repeating a certain pattern, or indulging people, or making it more about themselves, or what they ate, or what they drank, or what they gambled, or their image, or their status, or being the center of attention, or something. Growing up and maturing themselves. Other people were inspired within themselves to want justice. And part of getting the justice you deserve is to keep kind of growing and healing and maturing yourself. I don't want to stay like an 18 or 21-year-old all my life. And there's some people, regardless of how old they are, they kind of keep living their life like an 18 or 20-year-old, for example. And they could be perfectly happy living their life like that. And when we come into contact with people where, when we were younger, we could have thought, oh, everybody is kind of motivated to grow and heal and mature themselves, and everybody puts aside their more immature ways of being, don't they? Or they're bossy, or they're controlling, or they're stubborn, or they're prideful. Hasn't everybody learned those lessons in life? That isn't really conducive to a relationship moving forward, kind of in a more just and fair and loving way. And some of the more shadowy people are like, I'm sure there'll be someone, maybe because of my looks, or my charm, or my money, or my status, or they're just full of themselves, or they want to live their life a certain way, that they're sure they'll find other people who want to live their life that way too, and make their life about whatever it is they want to make their life about. And it's just to accept the truth. And when we were younger, for sure, there was a lot of different people we could have gotten in friendship or relationship with. And over time, we could have seen that they kind of have a way of living life and viewing life, and they were happy continuing to do it that way. Are you kind of inspired in your fire sign nature and in your philosophy of life, kind of what you want to manifest? Do you even have an interest of facing your fears, and like kind of wanting to challenge yourself to, feel like you accomplished some of the things you dreamed of accomplishing in your life? And some people never really had a very high bar set for themselves. And that's fine. Again, different strokes for different folks. And we need all sorts of different people in the world. And everybody has the free will to live their life the way they want. But the more we come in contact with different people, part of that is to help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And kind of what motivates and inspires us and what doesn't. And kind of what we think is just and fair versus what other people think is just and fair. And we can be sad when we have to maybe get out of certain friendships or relationships or jobs. Some of those people can be sad if they get out of friendship or relationship with us. But if we're kind of, we can come together with people and we can like them, they can like us. We could be loving and encouraging people to each other. Got an alarm on my phone. But sometimes that is the reason why we were kind of brought together. And sometimes, maybe we were more mismatched. But maybe being more mismatched kind of helped us through a time period. And sometimes we can get in a mismatched relationship after being in a relationship with someone that we were more mismatched in a relationship with, So it's kind of like all these stepping stones. Could this have been a better relationship? Hopefully people aren't getting into worse friendships, jobs, and relationships, right? And we can all help each other kind of heal from other situations in our life that were a little more immature or shadowy or something, right? And then we can serve that purpose like in each other's life. But then, kind of maybe when we kind of feel like more balanced within ourselves and we're kind of ready to move forward, that's when we can kind of find that, well, we're a little mismatched too. And, it's like trying to find someone, not everyone, just because you can date people, if you're single, um, is everybody going to be someone that you have, that what is it that makes a friend become more like a best friend? What makes someone that you date have that spark kind of in that fire sign energy that I don't even know what it is, but I really want to get to know that person more. And I have more interest in trying to, it kind of intrigues me than with other people, you know? But we can get in friendships and relationships, we can help each other maybe heal, but then again, it's time for people to go on their journey with some of those friendships and relationships. And again, some people kind of keep moving forward with you, and other people, you kind of realize you're kind of more on different pages, and um, it's not going to work out or something. And some people could be going through that right now. Other people, we at any given time we can have people that we know, because we could have the people in our life that are more on the same page as us. We could meet other people and just trying to get to know them. Um, and anybody at whatever stage of life they're at, we can always kind of be meeting other people and just trying to figure out if, hey, if you want to hang out more or not, if you really kind of like that person or don't really like that person, do you seem to be on the same page? Then we have the ring card, which says Taurus. And the reason that came out is because of the moon. Well, it's hard to believe, probably, but there are some people who refuse to listen to their intuition because their intuition kind of wants them. Your intuition is kind of like your soul, kind of like your higher self, your higher consciousness that wants you to free yourself from things that manipulate you, you know? Um, your more high vibrational nature wants you to free yourself from things that manipulate you. It would like us to listen to our intuition and face our fears, is what the moon can talk about. And the moon also rules Cancer energy. The moon, typically depicted by Pisces in the tarot, in this deck, it does say Cancer because Cancer rules the moon. Both Pisces and Cancer are water sign energies. Cancer is about love of self, love of others. Pisces can be about loving yourself, being more independent, believing in yourself, believing in your dreams. You know, aligning in your high vibe Taurus with having a little more hope and faith and belief in yourself and love. And again, there's some people that nature within them beckons them, and they could have people in their life that try to encourage them to maybe temper their more immature nature, or work through their fears or insecurities. Shadowy energy could be codependent energy, and some people are very codependent, and that could be kind of their truth that, well, I don't think I got to connect in with my emotions or my intuition or love and believe in myself. That's why I get in a relationship. That's like their job, is to love me. And then that can be some people are kind of immature because they're just more about themselves, looking for someone to love them. But unless we want to stay in more codependent relationships, it's for us to learn to take over that role within ourselves like be our own best mother, father, coach voice in our own head. Otherwise, we are more codependent. And I think to some degree, we've all been there. And because it's kind of a process of learning these lessons in life. I better learn to love and believe in myself and get clear in my Taurus philosophy of life what my truth is. And I better work through some of these things that I kind of keep hidden in the dark, or those things are going to keep manipulating me. And that also can be what the moon talks about. That there's these things that are kind of buried underneath the surface, kind of buried in our subconscious that we're not even consciously aware of why we kind of do what we do and why we could be drawn and attracted to certain people. And shadowy energy can talk about being in our ego, our wounding. And we can be drawn and attracted to people that we have in the karmic cycle because of some wounding that we've gone through, which could even be us not loving and believing in ourselves, not feeling good enough, not feeling very grounded within ourselves, fear, insecurity, all those things. When that's kind of more that we might not think is a big deal for us to have to deal with, that's kind of shadowy energy, which can be the moon also, kind of staying in denial of the truth. And we kind of indulge ourselves thinking, I don't have to deal with that. I might have those issues, but I'm sure it'll all work out. And yeah, that is how the game of life works. You know, we're going to be drawn and attracted to getting in relationships with certain people at any stage of our life based on how we think and feel about ourselves and what we think we deserve. And if we're more stable and grounded within ourselves in Taurus and Virgo and Capricorn energy, we've learned to invest in ourselves, offer truth and love to our more immature nature, to grow up and mature ourselves, feel more stable and grounded, conduct ourselves not in a more immature way that we've maybe already done before and have seen like that keeps not working out. I need to see the truth of it. That was kind of going down the wrong path. Something that I thought was going to make me feel better was the answer. That wasn't it. And then it is kind of seeing this truth. I need to learn to do this work within myself. And some people are doing that work within themselves. They could meet other people that they could like and be attracted to, but either because they're dealing with these kind of situations within themselves or other people, that is kind of, they have people in their life that they're working with that maybe are being kind of immature, shadowy, whether it's children, family, relationship partners, neighborhood people, work people. We don't know all the things that are going on in other people's lives that people are dealing with. But, you know, we offer truth and love to people, but we also don't live in illusion. And we can try to get to know people. If some people maybe don't seem interested, we don't get in our ego about it. Not everybody I like or want to maybe get to know more, just like some of the people who could like me want to get to know me more. I could be like, no, I'm good. I'm happy with the kind of relationship we have right now. Well, just like people could feel that way towards me, other people, I could feel that way towards people. And we need to get out of our ego about it. We don't sometimes some people know our truth, maybe by how you act, how you live your life. And the moon card also in shadowy energy can be where people try to create an illusion about the type of person they are. Some people are much more immature, fearful, insecure, manipulative, controlling or something, whatever they are, materialistic or something. But they hide it and they present themselves as like someone we would view like, hey, you kind of seem to be on the same age. Again, and that can sound kind of haughty or whatever, but I'm just saying, when you look at, even if you were to look at 25-year-olds and all the spectrum of how different people are living their life as a 25-year-old, I'm just kind of looking for people that aren't doing this, aren't doing that, who might be kind of more in the middle range, that, we got some things in common and like to do some of the same things together and aren't maybe on the extreme edge and really immature or really uptight or whatever, right? But we can meet people who are kind of creating an illusion about who they are, but they know their truth and they know they're creating an illusion. And that's why some of those people definitely aren't getting in a relationship with certain people because, like, I know I look like you, I talk like you, I dress like you, I do some of the same functions as you, but you don't really know how I live my life, and I am more immature, and I maybe am more about me, and I don't like to be just and fair, and I really am more about myself. They know their truth, you know, and just like we've been in relationships and have situations like that in our life, so do other people. And again, as we're just meeting people, we act in our truth to get to know people, to accept people are where they're at. The people who are more willing to maybe get to know us just like we are willing to get to know them and work together more cooperatively at whatever stage and phase of life we are, then those could be people who are not more fearful, but high vibe energy is just willing to go with the flow to kind of get to know people and kind of listen to your intuition. And if at anywhere along that journey people start to act, one way or the other, that seems to be kind of in your mind, kind of, wait a minute, that's kind of like driving your life. This is kind of taking this in the ditch, I thought we were going to go along in life, whether you're my coworker, neighbor, or whoever, that we were both going to kind of try to keep this within the bumper guards of kind of these. Taurus can be like these unspoken philosophies of ways of conducting yourself in friendship and relationship. And so long as, it seems like people agree on these kind of ranges of acceptable behavior, people are willing to keep moving forward with people. And the people who keep kind of indulging maybe in being more difficult, more immature, or something, yeah, you kind of accept the truth of it. And it's like, if I don't have to work with you or hang out with you or visit with you, I'm not going to. When I see you out in the world, high vibe is, I'm willing to treat other people the way I like to be treated because I don't want to kind of put more negativity out in the world. But do I want to invest more in people, in same way if Sagittarius can kind of be about chasing after people. If I have communicated with people, the wands can be about communication. The pentacles can be about bringing something into the 3D world, kind of like you had an idea or a dream, is what Pisces can talk about. And you invested in communicating your truth, have tried to reach out to people to get along with them or communicate more of a message like, I think I'd like to get to know you more in a relationship. If those people aren't in turn investing in you, with some of the people, it can maybe be a little confusing because you kind of thought you maybe were more on the same page, but you work through it. And it's like, again, maybe when people were younger, they were more willing to pursue or chase people. But, and that's what some people want. And they want to see, oh, are you heartbroken? Oh, do you not have some fear of loving and believing in yourself? And kind of like, if you don't chase me, then I'm not going to get in a relationship. Like, I'd only get more involved in a relationship with you if you do chase me. Or I guess more shadowy people could try to send someone else to see if someone, I don't know, seems to act or behave or take the bait in some way. Are you someone who acts are you who you say you are, and do you kind of act with character and integrity? Or are you going, and some people want to maybe just sit back and observe. I want to see how other people act. I could be drawn and attracted to people, but I am going to maybe watch how people conduct themselves. And if I see that they kind of conduct themselves in ways that it's like, yeah, no, uh, maybe kind of view them like an immature player, male, female, more chasing after people, where you could get the feeling it doesn't really matter who they're in a relationship with, just kind of want to be in a relationship, maybe to just say they're in a relationship or something, or sex. It's like, I'm kind of looking for someone, and just like you could be saying that, other people could be saying that. I don't want, if I've already been in relationships that were more shadowy and people more immature and people wanting people to chase people, and, I'm looking for people who've been enlightened. That would be high vibe Libra. This card kind of reminded me of the Three of Swords. I'm no longer in the Two of Swords confused about the truth. I have been enlightened to the truth. And I realize not everybody is motivated and inspired by love, has grown up and matured themselves, acts with character and integrity. And I've also learned to maybe temper myself. Sagittarius is also represented by the Temperance card. To temper myself, that just because I could like someone, be attracted to someone, it is kind of trying to get to know them just like you would anyone else, just to see, just to get to know them more. And high vibe people have learned to listen to their intuition, which when they were younger, they maybe didn't do that. And even some people who are older aren't doing that. And that can be, thinking we're so smart in a more shadowy air sign energy. No, 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 I'm not going to listen to my intuition. How many of us have gotten in relationships or done some things at some stage in our life where our intuition was like, oh my gosh, you should not do that. No, this is not going to work out well. You should go home. And we went and did it anyway, right? And it's kind of learning to temper your more immature egoic nature, or lust or greed. And some people still kind of have a hard time tempering that aspect within themselves. And hopefully we learn some lessons from our own life experiences and being in relationship with some other people, and hopefully we're holding ourselves to a kind of higher standard of life as we keep getting older. And again, some people get worse over time, and some people never hold themselves to a higher standard. So again, trying to find people in the world, listening to our intuition, willing to get to know people. But if with some people I more communicate more directly a truth that I would like to get to know you more and be in a relationship with you, and those people aren't doing that and they seem to keep investing in this, then I get out of my ego about it. If they like someone else, love someone else, in a relationship with someone else, oh, okay, maybe didn't know that. There could be people right now trying to figure out if other people are in a relationship or not. Some people already didn't know and they already communicated with some people. But next, we have a card not showing itself, and the reason is because of the Crossroads card, which is kind of like the Two of Swords. It says Libra on it. And anytime we do get in a new job, friendship, or relationship, or with the people we're currently in relationship with, do people maintain Libra, represented by the scales of justice? Do people continue to invest in maintaining balance within themselves and investing and putting this work and effort to maintain that balance in the relationship? Or are they not? And if people start to, their intuition tells them, wait a minute, it seemed like, we could have gotten to know each other. We were friends, whatever. We could have gotten to know each other more. We started to move forward. And then, then over here we have the snake card. And over here we have the fox card. And the reason that came out is the half-truths. And both the snake and the fox kind of remind me, well, it says Scorpio on it, which is emotional water sign energy. Is this going to become a more deep, meaningful relationship, or do you not really do deep, meaningful relationships? Because really you just want to indulge in a relationship. People can get in relationships, enjoy being in relationships, but when the other people kind of want to bring that dream into reality, which is what this kind of seeming like the Seven of Swords of Aquarius energy, which a big critical component of the Seven of Swords is the Two of Swords. The 5, the 6, and the 7 are all Aquarius energy. Do we have that same dream that we had? And is that our truth? And are we going to keep listening to our intuition to then kind of move forward in it? And right now, some people could be in some situations in their life where it is kind of that decision point. That's kind of what the 5s and 7s can talk about. There are these difficult times. Oh, we never looked at this card, did we? Ah, the mice. And I view the mice kind of as like the 5 of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy. We can all have some things that we need to work through in order to keep moving forward in some things. And also kind of make a decision. Libra can talk about people having a hard time making a decision. And in that Two of Swords, it's like, what's my truth? Is it this? Is it that? Do I have in high vibe Aquarius hope and faith and belief in myself, in others, in love? Or am I kind of more about not wanting to do love because I get hurt doing love and I don't even want to take the risk? Or am I more about me or the ego or the image? Or is this the right person? Is my truth their truth? Is their idea of the dream life my idea of the dream life? Could they be lovely people and could I like them? There's a lot of things I like and it could be stable and grounded and, maybe exciting and some attraction and all that good stuff. But how do I see this moving forward? Do I feel like the other person is being kind of deceptive and manipulative? Are they being more strategic? Are they more about the ego and the image or the money or the materialism? Are they being truthful? Are they creating an illusion? Am I creating an illusion? Everybody has to deal with those things. And, the Two of Swords, kind of at the crossroads, could be, what if someone has met someone that they kind of think is someone that they think their dreams could come into reality with, but there's something about it that would have to be worked through, whatever that could be. And so, should I kind of keep investing in maybe pursuing that, maybe trying to get to know those people more? There could be other people that people could be in a relationship with, and there's not that, whatever that kind of complication could be. This would be easier in a way. Should I just do that? And some people are like, should I indulge myself? Or should I have more hope and faith and belief in myself? And again, it can be, do I hold myself? What lessons have I learned in life? The people who've learned, I don't want to get in a relationship with someone if it's not based on truth and love. That's what the high vibe people are doing. Why would I get myself emotionally invested in people that I could know from the get-go our truth isn't the same? We don't view life the same. This is not going anywhere. But, we could do it because we're heartbroken. We could do it because we just want to feel better. More shadowy people could be that they're trying to manipulate someone else in their life. Well, that's kind of using other people as a pawn in your game just for you to feel better or to try to manipulate someone else. But I'm sure there are some shadowy people right now that is kind of how they operate in the shadow, always just trying to create this illusion about the truth of who they are, but really they try to manipulate and control people. And somehow in their brain, they think that's just and fair. Well, with some of the people who have been in relationships with people like that, some of those people already work through the emotional confusion and mental conflict of it to accept the truth of it. That some people that we've known in our life aren't who we thought they were. They could have created the illusion they were a more just and fair and stable, grounded person and mature or something. And to a degree, compared to some of the people in our life, they could have been more stable, grounded, and mature. But they still could have been people who kind of operate from this more shadowy philosophy of relationship, which is, oh, but by the way, I don't really want to do love. I want to live more from my mind than my heart, but I might have learned more lessons in life, and I might be more stable or grounded or mature than some other people you might have known. But I too harness a more shadowy Taurus philosophy of relationship and a shadowy Libra, because high vibe Libra would be, it's supposed to be based on truth and love. But there's people, regardless of what emotional maturity level or status or image or victory and success in the world, could have that kind of shadowy philosophy of life. They want to live more from their mind than their heart, want to be in a relationship where they don't more authentically, emotionally invest in people because they could get hurt. And they'd have to come out from indulging their more immature, self-protected, defensive, egoic nature. And some of those people never will do that. And they kind of listen to their intuition in a shadowy way. Who do I think could be more tempted to get in a relationship that maybe doesn't know? In the Two of Swords can be that people don't know the truth of them, and maybe hasn't been in a relationship with someone like me at this stage of the game. Because the whole thing is, throughout our life at every age, from 5 years old on, it is the same lessons kind of over and over to different degrees. Some people just get better at hiding it. Now, some of the people in your life that you knew, maybe in junior high and high school, who were bullies, male or female, egomaniacs, odds are, if you're to meet them today and other people meet them today, people are going to be able to tell still that they're that type of person, right? Other people might not have been so overtly bullying of people, but they could kind of think it is okay, so long as, to a degree where they still kind of think it should be more about them. High vibe energy is supposed to be just and fair. If you're going to be in a romantic relationship with someone, hopefully it would be because you have love for them. And for some people, it never, it's kind of more, do we get along well enough? Would this be good for my ego and image and shadowy Aquarius and Capricorn? Do I like you enough? Do you like me enough? Maybe am I sexually attracted to you? For some, they don't care if they are or not. That's the thing with shadowy people. There's so many factors. Well, this is really good for my ego and my image. This really has a lot of ego and status to it. Because it's not love anyway. So it's kind of all the other things that are important to them. It's like, it is kind of like putting them on the scale. It's like, well, who has more of this and who has more of that? And what can that person provide? And what can that person provide? If it's attractiveness, if it's money, if it's status, if it's social clout, it's all to try to figure out. And it's all, they're people who are not just and fair. And if anything else comes along that they think would work out better for them, and for some it's like, you could be great. Damn, this would seem like a dream come true. But you keep wanting me to keep maintaining balance within myself and keep putting in work and effort. And I really kind of like to be more immature or more indulged. Maybe I could go find someone who might be kind of heartbroken, but maybe they have more of the things of the world that I want. And I'd sacrifice a dream. And basically, that's what shadowy people did. They kind of gave up on having hope and faith and belief in themselves and in others and in love and decided, nope, I'm going to, even though it could kind of break their heart, it did break their high vibe nature's heart, for them to like, nope, I'm just going to be more about me, more about the world, want to be in a relationship, like relationships, but I want to kind of indulge in relationships. I'm going to hide. I'm going to create this illusion about what kind of Taurus energy I harness, and I'm going to hide that I really don't harness high vibe Taurus energy, and that I really am more about my self interest and how it benefits me. And I am being deceptive and manipulative. I'm not being truthful and authentic. And I guess as long as it works out in whatever job, friendship, or relationship I'm in, as long as those people kind of have a problem of seeing through the illusion or seeing the truth of it, then I guess we'll keep moving on. And when people do start to listen to their intuition and say, wait a minute, I think we harness our Aquarius and Capricorn energy differently, because high vibe Capricorn is freeing yourself from the devil, your more immature self interest, not aligned with love nature. And high vibe Aquarius is about that. And the other people harness a more worldly Capricorn, Scorpio, Aquarius, Libra, Taurus, Pisces, maybe Cancer, Sagittarius, and Virgo. You know, in our emotional nature, what we can love is being more about ourselves and our self protective nature, or these things of the world, or things we indulge in. High vibe people have grown up and matured themselves. They have been enlightened to the truth that love makes it all worthwhile. I don't want to be in a job to be in a job. I'm not going to put up with bullshit. Any opportunity I have to get out of friendships and relationships where I think people are not telling the truth, being deceptive, manipulative, stubborn, hurtful, unkind, unjust, in a world of duality where I have free will, that means different choices have to be available to me. When someone seems to be creating a little hell on earth, that means someone else is creating a little heaven on earth, and I'm going to go hang out with the people who are creating a little more heaven on earth. And I'm going to take these lessons that I've learned from these experiences with me, maintain balance within myself, not indulge poor behavior in myself or others, listen to my intuition, be loving and encouraging, and get to know people. Keep focused on the big picture. Keep looking at life from the higher perspective. Don't get all caught up in my head. Don't get caught up in my fear and my insecurity. You know, and there are no guarantees. But if we were to look at life as life is an adventure, sometimes some of the people will work through some of their issues or temper their ego during the course of a relationship. But I would think to get in one where they're not showing you, obviously, or your intuition isn't telling you, you know, all we can do is listen to our intuition. It's an adventure to go on. We act with in a way that we can be proud of. If the other people don't act in a way that we think is worth being proud of, and we think they're being more deceptive and manipulative, then I don't know why we should take that personally and be in our ego about it. But that's why some people don't want to do a more just, fair, balanced, authentic, or loving relationship. So much in their ego if it weren't to work out. so they don't go on the adventure at all. And that's also how I kind of view high vibe Scorpio. Let's see. Taurus and Scorpio are on opposite sides of the zodiac wheel. So we could get too caught up in indulging in these things that we love or in love and not being more grounded and practical. All the water signs are on the opposite side of the zodiac sign of the earth signs. And so then it's to kind of learn these lessons and get more balanced within ourselves that can I be a loving person? Yes, but I have to maintain balance. I do have these things of the world I want to manifest, and I have to accept the truth that some people aren't very just or fair or authentic or loving or act with character and integrity. Keep my distance from the people who show me that's not their truth. Don't indulge poor behavior in myself or others. Keep investing in my truth. And, I'm going to meet other people that could be kind of in that same energy. And then those could be more the people that, as I get to know them, plus the people in my life, where we do this work within ourselves to keep having more hope and faith and belief. And as long as our intuition tells us that the people in our life aren't being more immature or deceptive or manipulative or whatever, we keep moving forward with them. Trusting that, I don't control other people. If they choose to go act or behave in a certain way, it could be surprising, it could be confusing, but I see it for what it is, and I don't stay in denial of the truth of it. I might communicate with them, like, why are you acting like that? Why are you doing that? I don't understand. If they don't want to explain it or help me understand it, or they just want to keep doing it, it's like, no, that's not my truth. And I'm going to move on. And that's what some people are doing. They keep growing, healing, maturing themselves, get out of situations that are kind of shadowy, won't give up on their dreams, look at life from a higher perspective, don't get caught up in their head, maintain balance within themselves. What's coming up for some of the people who harness some high vibe Taurus energy? The Three of Pentacles, the Four of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, the Virgo Hermit, the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Swords. And the reason is because of the Three of Pentacles. So, yeah, Capricorn, we started out the reading with Capricorn energy. So, the tens can talk about completing cycles, and then we kind of move to the next phase of life. We come out with the Ace of Wands. We come out with the Ace of Swords after the Ten of Wands and the Ten of Swords. And we go have these new beginnings. But those would be talking about being inspired to complete a cycle. There's some ways of looking at life, viewing life, living life, something, or people I've been hanging out with, or a job, that I see that's not aligned with my truth. And I am very inspired, maybe because I feel very overwhelmed, maybe even feeling backstabbed. I need to go. And then you're harnessing high vibe Capricorn, freeing yourself from things that seem to be more shadowy. Because you did that work within yourself to be willing to deal with the truth. There are people in the world, in the Four of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles, they reject that cup of love. They don't really want to do love. They want to use their emotions more manipulatively. And what they want to offer people instead, from their Virgo nature of self, this is like the two Virgo cards, they want to offer people more things of the world. And you're trying to inspire people in high vibe Virgo with truth and love. For some. For others, they just have their way of living life. You could be more bold, more brave, more creative, more inspired, had a different type of dream that motivates you and inspires you to kind of keep moving forward. And some of those people are like, no, you should stay here and live life like this. It's like, I kind of find it overwhelming and I feel like I'm not living my truth. With some of the people, you could offer them truth and love to come with you, and some of them are like, no, if you want to go do that, I'm going to go do this because that's not my truth. You're either kind of in high vibe Sagittarius that we had here, inspired to kind of keep growing, healing, and maturing yourself, facing your fears, freeing yourself from things that manipulate you, kind of inspired to keep investing in yourself. And some people are like, why? We have these things of the world. It seems stable or abundant or grounded. And just some people are more driven and motivated than other people. You could have someone you could be attracted to. There could be somebody who could be attracted to you. One or the other of you could be more and knows they're more driven and motivated than the other person. It's like, do I think this could be a nice relationship and I like you? But if other people are more driven and motivated than you and you're like, yeah, that's not quite how I live my life. You're a little more type A personality, severely maybe. And it's like, that's not me. They're probably going to want to be in a relationship with other people who are like that. And it's like, yeah, no, that's not me. and and you just accept the truth of it. Everybody can be sad that with certain people that, but it is all this mix that makes up our idea of the dream life. And hopefully we're not, hopefully we'd at least be willing to get to know people. Sometimes some of those people, because in a lot of ways we kind of could be on the same page, that maybe it wouldn't be romantic, but maybe it would be a real long-term friendship or relationship, or you could work really well together or something. And everybody could temper the fact that, well, that was too bad. It's like, well, it is the way it is. So, okay, I'll work with you, and there will not be anything else, and it will just be to know you or be good friends with you or something. And other people you are detaching from because you kind of know their truth. And again, if certain people aren't investing in you, we can't stay stuck hoping other people will change or work through their issues. People are investing their time, energy, and effort into things that are aligned with their truth, good or bad. That's where they're at. If that wasn't their truth, they wouldn't keep investing in it. So we accept the truth of it and we move forward. It's like, okay, well, maybe an opportunity with someone, and that can kind of be the Four of Cups. Someone who I thought was kind of more on the same page as me isn't. And, I'm going to keep moving forward. Apparently, the opportunity, if we didn't pursue an opportunity when that opportunity was available, sometimes that opportunity passes us by. And sometimes maybe when we let some things pass us by, we weren't willing, seeing it was going to be a missed opportunity, or didn't even know at some future point we would think that those people were more on the same page as us. What's coming up for some of the people who are more worldly or shadowy that they don't see coming? The Emperor in reverse. Why? Because of the Star. Well, the shadowy people could lack wanting to take more creative, inspired action in their life, to look at life differently in a more high vibe Aquarius energy, like there is more to a point of being on this planet than just making it about me and these things I indulge in the world, or my ego, or my image, or my status, or something. Really, just people who could be more caught up in the world, conforming to the world, making their life. That's the driving factor that dictates the decisions in their life. And some of those people in the Emperor reverse, which like Sagittarius energy here, they're just not motivated, and they just maybe just don't even look at life from a higher perspective, can't even understand, could think other people like, what the hell are you doing? This looks good. You should stay in this job. You should be my friend. You should date me. You should marry me. You should marry me. Stay married to me. They can't understand people. And again, that's kind of a more shadowy Taurus philosophy of life. Life is about getting in these relationships to have this certain status and image or stability or security. Oh my God, that's like the dream life. Well, in our worldly nature, yes. But we've also had a lot of Scorpio out here, and inspired energy and emotional energy. What about also kind of having a balance? How about, yes, we have some of those things of the world, and we put in work and effort to have some of those things of the world, but how about we're inspired to be more balanced in our life? More having a little more hope and faith and belief and love, and maybe being high vibe energy and high vibe Virgo is being a little more independent in the world. Quit being so much about the world or codependent on the world or your ego or your image, or worried and caught up in what other people think of you, and that is getting caught up in the illusion of the world, where some of those people, it's like they're not living their more authentic life because it's all about, and that can also be like shadowy Libra, which can anybody can harness, where it's like, I need people to view me a certain way and I need to have a certain status and image. It's like, if you were to invest in truth and love, live your authentic life, treat other people the way you want to be treated, go invest in the things that were aligned with your truth, why do you think people wouldn't maybe view you a certain way? Because some of the people that we might be trying to appeal to, they might do certain things, act certain ways, not do certain things, not act certain ways, not talk to, not do whatever certain things. And people can get caught up in their head thinking, that they just can't live their more authentic life. And it's like shadowy energy, represented by the devil at the big picture, is like being enslaved by all these things. And Taurus can be all these unwritten rules and regulations in our own head. I got to act this way. I got to do this. I can't do that. Other people are just living their authentic life. And some of those people are so much up in their head about, those people are just living their authentic life. If you want to go do that, go do that. But some people already created an illusion about the type of person they are. And they've been investing a lot of time, energy, and effort to act a certain way and participate in certain things that they maybe never would have if it weren't for trying to create this certain image in the world. And then for them to be like, you know what? There are some of those things that I'm not going to do anymore because I really didn't want to, and I really didn't enjoy it. Basically, it's like being a hypocrite. But they don't want to be seen as a hypocrite, and they also could be afraid that those people wouldn't invest in them anymore. Well, that's kind of, if people aren't willing to respect you, high vibe Virgo and Capricorn over here, and taking that cup of love energy, what about me being respected as my own individual? And if there was, I don't have to lie about it, just, I did a lot of these activities or participated in a lot of these things. I feel like maybe even in my Virgo energy, I need to take a break. Maybe it's become too overwhelming and I feel like it's backstabbing me, like I'm not free, high vibe Capricorn, to live my authentic life. I need to take some time just to really think about more what my truth is. Why do I do what I do? Why don't I do the things I want to do? Why do I do the things I do? People can tell people that. But for some people, their idea of the dream life is not to have to grow up and mature themselves, get out of their more about themselves or indulging their more immature nature or worldly nature. That is their truth. They are more inspired by the world, hiding their more authentic and loving nature from the world because they get hurt out there. And they're going to make their life just more about indulging and conforming to the world. And they think that's just and fair. I think it'll kind of, it's our loving nature that helps free us. And I think they'll hide that they have a lot of inner conflict and maybe feel stuck because other people are living their more authentic life. And they could be surprised that some people in the world who probably could manipulate people if they wanted to because of their status or their image or their looks or their clout or whatever. The high vibe people, this is Aries energy, aren't more about themselves. They are motivated and inspired by truth and love. And they could be surprised when other people who could probably, maybe even more easily than some of these people, deceive and manipulate people to get what they want in the world, could, but they don't. And that really confuses them too. Why isn't that person doing whatever out of ego or image or to have more stability or security in the world or get the things that they want? They could use that shadowy Virgo. High vibe Virgo talks about you have been given these unique gifts and talents, and high vibe Taurus is about using those things wisely, acting with character and integrity. And some other people have already learned some of these lessons in life. That's just going to kind of drag my life into hell. And if I go indulge in those things and make my life about those things, it's like investing in a false prophet. I make something that's not aligned with truth and love, trying to make that be the answer to my problems. And I've already learned that truth and love is the answer. And I've learned to listen to my intuition. And I'm going to invest in my own unique talent, skills, and interest and let love and intuition guide me. And even though it can feel overwhelming, and sometimes there's nobody in my environment that seems to be more people that are on the same page, I'm not willing to give up my dream like some other people did. When I'm going to keep moving forward, and I believe any day I am in more feeling stable, balanced, in relationships with people who are more just, fair, stable, and balanced, authentic, and loving, than having to compromise my truth to indulge someone who isn't, is a good day. And if there aren't people in my environment that are the right person for me to be in a more involved relationship, I want to keep moving forward in my truth so that when I do meet someone who has learned some of those same lessons as me, who also maybe could have felt overwhelmed and backstabbed and thought they weren't going to meet anybody that was more on the same page as them, here I come offering them truth and love. And just as we are moving forward in that way, people can come into our life who offer us truth and love. And we get to know them to find out if they are who they say they are. And if they are, we together close out a cycle and we have a new beginning. So high vibe people went about things in a high vibe way to manifest their dreams into reality, which is probably much greater than what they could have manifested going about it in a shadowy way. And the shadowy people might manifest something that by worldly standards could look very victorious and successful, but that is what makes it have victory and success, is how it looks or something, or what they indulge in, or being more about themselves, or indulging someone in order to have those things. Not very inspired by high vibe Aquarius energy, more inspired by these things of the world, living more from their mind than their heart. What we invest our time, energy, and effort into, and our thoughts and emotions, and what kind of like used to have a plate that said something like, home is where your heart lies or something, and the people whose heart is more emotionally invested in their more worldly nature, that is what they're going to invest their time and energy and effort into. And the people who are more motivated and inspired by high vibe Taurus to believe there's a higher truth to aspire to in the world, that's what they're going to invest their time. The high vibe people are going to have people who are offering them truth and love to work together with them. The other people might have people who don't even want to be in a relationship with them with the fire sign in reverse, but because it's good for the ego and the image and the status, they're willing to be in it. So there you go, Taurus. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.